incline a little bit. Timer, level, program watts. We need watts. Wattage output. Wattage output 250 watts. Wattage output 250 watts for 45 minutes. Watts. Consistent watts. Consistent watts. Toggle, toggle. There we go. That's where it's at. Level, distance, don't care about that. Alright guys. What's up guys? You let me know in the chat. Remember, you just guys let me know your questions. I care more about wattages. What's up guys? Let me know if your questions in the chat. You guys just let me know. So we're maintaining around 150 watts. Yep. Welcome into the chat. Welcome into the chat. Yeah, so you guys have any questions about output and balancing out anaerobic and aerobic activity? Remember, I've trained about 700 people in my life. I'm a professional, so again, different ways to train, guys. Train for your goal. You are very pretty. Oh, thank you. Be careful, bro. Be careful. Don't really know what to be careful about. But for you guys who are curious, the elliptical is a superior form of cardio to stay lean. Very good. Focus on your wattage. You definitely want to focus on your wattage output. Remember, I train to stay very lean and athletic at close to 40 years old, right? No, I'm not a power lifter. No. Nope. Thanks for the comment. I used to power lift years ago before I had surgery. I was 300 pounds. But I like being lean and athletic. What's up, Shawnee? Just getting some aerobic capacity. All right, guys, ask me questions. Yeah, I've lost 100 pounds. Yep. It was not easy. It took about a year and a half. Yes, you should do cardio. Cardio will not affect your muscle gains. No. That's a very old myth. Well, most people are fatter than they think. Yes. That's okay. I train strongmen, I train power lifters, I train physique competitors. Train for your goal. But if you want to get leaner, focusing on your diet and cardio and your resistance training. and do your resistance training and your cardio in separate sessions. Don't do them together. It's silly. I like 30 minutes to an hour of cardio. It's usually the sweet spot for me. Nope, don't drink, don't smoke. Sorry, I have another chat up on my phone in another window, so I'm getting chats from YouTube and another window. So I've got chats on 2 different windows on my screen, so I'm answering chats for 2 different streams. So we're gonna float up to about 180 watts is all we're staying at. We're gonna try to keep that 180 watts for about 10 to 30 minutes. So what that does is that increases VO2 capacity and anaerobic threshold. Oh yeah, I lift weights too, don't get it twisted. Yeah, I like lifting weights. But I don't lift for power and strength. I lift for aesthetics. You jump rope? Cool, Shawnee, let's talk about that. Shawnee, I'm going to talk to you now. I saw you posted some music. Shawnee, keep tagging me in some of those posts, and I will continue to give you thumbs up. Yeah, jumping rope is great. I mean, look at boxers. Look how lean and athletic boxers are. Jumping rope is great. It's just when it comes to jumping rope, you want to make sure that the rope that you're jumping, just make sure that it doesn't hurt your joints and that you're in shape enough to jump. But jumping is great. Jumping is wonderful. Mr. Kitty. All right, don't know what that is. Keep in mind, when it comes to your cardio, especially if you're trying to stay lean, I prefer the elliptical because the elliptical allows you to burn more calories, focus on muscles, and because I also weight train, the impact of the weight, the running, can, you know, I'm 220 pounds at 6'4". I'm not huge, but I do have some weight on me. I don't want to go run. If I'm going to run, I'm going to do some sprints. But yes, Shawnee, one of the main things is getting your body to stay in that state. And if you want to get leaner, it's about moderating your protein, carbs, and fats, putting them in a nutrition plan, and then pairing that with anaerobic activity. So, I don't like to do my cardio too hard or too light. I like to get warm and stick in that nice zone 2. A lot of zone 2 cardio to keep you lean, regulate glucose spikes, and recover from your anaerobic sessions. I mean, I don't know, I would say if you can jump rope barefooted, that would be best. Your shoes should fit, but it's just how you feel. If your shoes have too much cushion on them, then doing jump ropes could be affected because the more cushion, the less you can feel the ground. Just like if you squat, you would want to squat in flat shoes. You wouldn't want to squat in like a you would want to squat in a big, high-soled, very thick shoe. You want to squat barefooted or flat shoes. But it goes by how you feel. You know, the biggest thing is how you feel when you're doing those movements. That's the main thing. I wish I did that. Oh, yeah. Like, you mean I train to look like a fitness model, right? I'm not trying to be I'm not a bodybuilder. I like to stay lean and fit, throughout the year. I don't like to be fat. I have a 31-inch waist and 51-inch shoulders. Right, I try to stay really narrow in my waist and have those wide shoulders, like the old school look. I train to be a statue, right? So I like aesthetics training, but that's how I train. That doesn't mean you should train the way I do, because I've trained powerlifters, strongmen, football players. I've trained all sorts of people, but most people want to be leaner and look better. And the way most people train is not going to elicit the aesthetic result. I've been training people since I was 16 years old, right? My job in the Navy was to train people. I'm certified, and I even work with ACE and NASM, and I get people to become certified trainers with PhDs in exercise science. So this is kind of what, not to sound arrogant, because some people think I am, but this is what I know. And I study all the time. I'm always reading and learning. And I don't do hormones or any of that stuff. I use nutrition. So we're sticking right about 150 watts for this cardio session. We're gonna do 150 watts, nice and easy. I'm getting a little bit of a warm feeling. That's kind of right where you want to be for fat burning phase. It's zone 2. You have the formula, it's 220 minus your age times 0.6 to 0.7, but that's not an effective formula. The formula that you want to use is how do you feel? You need to measure something. Personally, I like to measure my heart rate, kind of, but I'd rather measure my watts. How much power can I generate? And can I generate more power over time with less fatigue? That's going to elicit an aesthetic, your body in adaptation, because you have to elicit a stimulus, and then your body's got to adapt to the stimulus, right? Just look at my pictures. Look at the picture I posted when I, first thing in the morning with no carbs, right? And ask yourself, how many natural, close to 40-year-olds do you see that look that way? Not too many. Right. There's a big difference between building mass and building aesthetics. Very big difference. To each their own. So we're going to pump the level up a little bit. Also for you guys with sciatica, getting on the stepper and pushing your heels down, and every time you push, actually contracting your hamstrings and contracting your glutes, you're going to get more out of a stepper than you will to a lot of other cardio machines. And the benefit is when you have the elliptical, you can turn and you can twist. So by turning and twisting, you can help your myofascial system stay intact. Sure, that makes sense if you don't want to get smacked by the jump rope. But, you know, your answer was shoes. Shoes are fine to wear. You just want to make sure your shoe fits your foot. It's open toe. It doesn't crowd your toes in. That's the main thing. And also, I prefer separating cardio from weight training. I'd rather, when I train my clients, if they train twice a day, I'll separate cardio and weights. And I think too many people don't understand the difference between anaerobic and aerobic activity. Right. Well, back when I was powerlifting and I was pretty strong, before I had my surgery, I find it pretty easy to get big and strong. You just eat a lot of food, but trying to build muscle and stay looking good is a little bit different. It's a little bit of scientific approach to that. Right? scientific approach that elicits this response to the body. Well, the main thing is when you get in better shape, you recover faster between workouts and you can do more frequency. If you just build strength and power and you rest, I mean, look, if you're doing heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, yeah, you can rest 3 to 5 minutes and that'll build strength. But that strength is not necessarily going to correlate with a better looking physique. You'll be big and you'll be thick, but you won't have separation and delineation in your body unless you're in shape when you do volume. Look at the difference between Serge Olivier and Dorian Yates. And most people that do super intensity style training, they have to rely on supplementation of hormones in order to keep up with the amount of fatigue they put on their body. And I don't do that. I use nutrition. And when it comes to food, 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fats. You only need 0.08 grams of protein per pound of LBM with the proper amount of carbohydrates and fats. And that allows you to train more, get more work, and then work the fat off instead of starving it off. Like all the ketogenic and all the fasting and all these protocols, they don't really work well for active people, in my opinion. Because the goal is to teach your body to use more fuel to maintain the active tissue. So that's kind of how it works, right? Most people starve it off, and you look at their body and their bodies don't look that good. I'm not judging, but it's like, you know, if you're properly doing your cardio, your resistance training, you're doing frequency, and you're eating very well, your body should start changing in like 10 days. You will visually see your body start to change. And if you don't see results in like a month, then you need to find a different trainer because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I certify trainers. Like, people come to a school and I certify them through NASM and ACE. I'm a professional. I work with Body Design University. And I can tell you, when I go into gyms and I see these gyms that hire people with these unnationally accredited certifications, I'm very aware of why their clients don't get really good results. You know, knowledge is power, right? There's a lot of knowledge in this. And I've worked with PhDs, exercise science, human physiology, applied kinetics, bioengineered food. Been studying this stuff for close to 2 decades, right? That's why I'm the only one in my family that's not fat and overweight. Everyone else in my family typically is fat, overweight, or has diabetes. I'm the only one in my family that's not. So I'd like to think that's not my genetics, right? Like, for example, I see a lot of people, they'll like do the stepper, for example, and they put their hands up on the stepper and they lean forward. That's just a waste of time. You'd be better getting on the elliptical, and you'd be better moving your body side to side, because that movement, that's what's going to create an adaptation to the body. But each their own. I'm only a professional, nothing more. So now's your chance, guys, in the chat. If you're curious about nutrition, break down what you're eating throughout the day, and I'll break down someone's diet, right? Because I don't think people eat enough protein. Like, I was writing a diet plan yesterday, right? And the lady was eating 80 grams of protein a day, and she feels like she's never hungry, and she's fasting, but she's fat. So we're bumping her protein up to a minimum of 150 grams 3 times a day. split between 50 servings. Lo and behold, the next couple days, she's adding more protein and her appetite's going up. So she's eating more food with less calories and her body's starting to actually burn fat. She's very active, so just altering and putting her on an eating schedule, her results skyrocketed, right? Simple, basic nutrition, right? Simple, basic nutrition. If you're serious, you shouldn't be drinking or smoking. No. Very, very, very rarely should you be drinking or smoking if you're serious. Most people aren't serious. Most people have no idea what they're doing in the gym. Most people come in here and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this. They have no plan. So, it is what it is. But you're going to get your results based on how well you plan, and you're going to look based on how well you're eating. So, simple as that. Find you a trainer. That's my best advice. Find you a trainer. Hire me. Hire me. Hire a professional. I work from a digital office. Yeah, I train people online. All I need you is to have a budget and a goal, and we'll get you there. I think 687 people I've trained now over the last 10, 15 years. But you're going to pay a premium for my time because you're going to get to your goal. So if you're looking for the cheapest trainer, don't message me. I'm not the most expensive. I'm not the cheapest. I'm the best price for the quality of work you'll get. And I'll go head to head with anybody on that. Especially if your goal is to get leaner, lose body fat, feel better, have a better sex life, have more energy, not feel like dookie, right? Learn about nutrition, learn the why behind how things work, not just what to do and memorize, but the why. That's what you're going to get from me. I'm going to teach you the why. So we're at 22 minutes. We've been doing our cardio now for about 28 minutes. Again, you can see I'm not breathing very hard. What I'm trying to do is make the cardio that I'm doing, I'm measuring my watts. The more wattage, right, that I can produce over a period of time at a zone 2 is going to elicit a better response and an adaptation. Now don't get it twisted, I don't just do cardio. I do a variety of training styles, right? But it's a combination of everything. It's sleep, rest, lifestyle, resistance training, stress reduction, not staying out late, not doing all that. It's a combination of a lot of things. All right. Cool. Naughty, good morning. Good morning, welcome to the chat. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning. What you up to? Good morning, sir. Good morning. So, when I do my cardios right here, my zone 2, this is your chance to ask any questions on health, wellness, diet, nutrition. That's my specialty. Nationally accredited trainer. I've got credentials, but I'm not going to talk about myself anymore. I talk about myself enough, right? But this is a chance to pick a professional's brain, and I'll answer questions you have, specifically on nutrition, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love talking about sports nutrition. I could talk about it all day. Doing good, about to take the daughter to the doctor. Well, good luck with your daughter. I'm sure your daughter will get better. Just keep a good attitude. Make sure you're putting good nutrition in her body. She'll be better. Daughter will get better. Let's bump these watts back up to about 150 to 200. Hey, what's up? What's up, bud? Hope you're doing well. Hell yeah, that's motivation. Oh, cool. Cross trainer, not treadmill. I like the elliptical, JMP. Welcome in. Shout out to London. Yeah, I prefer cross trainer. Guys, so when I'm in these chats, since I am a professional trainer, nationally accredited. I work with trainers every day. I've been training people for almost 2 decades. Use this chat to ask me questions and I'll give you some honest feedback. Now, I'm not going to try to hurt your feelings, but I am kind of blunt. Right, I'm going to tell you what the science says, me training athletes at high level, and what tends to work based on science. So, Pablo, glad you're motivated. Cool, 17. Oh, USMC, there you go, baby. You'll like this, man. This gym's got all the military and all the flags on it. So this is a very military-friendly gym. Very cool. Yeah, JMP, I prefer cross trainer. Or the elliptical versus treadmill. Now, the treadmill's not bad if you put it on an incline, but the benefit is today is my recovery day. So today is my off day. So on my off day, I do about 60 minutes of cardio. Yeah, cross trainer is where it's at. See, let's say you want to keep your waist small. With the cross trainer, you're twisting your body, you're using your legs and your arms. So the cross trainer is a full body fat burning machine. Now, I like to do my wattage. Now, JMP, have you ever looked at your cross trainer? Have you ever looked at the wattages on the machine? So I'll show you what I do to progress without killing myself and making myself too tired. So when I do my weight sessions, I still have energy. Right. Let me know if you ever, well, you tell me, JMP, what do you measure when you do your cross trainer? Are you measuring your heart rate, your wattage, your RPMs, your distance, your time, your level? What are you measuring? Are you measuring your METs? Like if you're burning 5 calories in a MET, your MET is how many calories you would burn in 10 hours not doing anything. So you got to measure something to make progress. So I'll tell you how I measure it when I'm building up my aerobic threshold, and specifically just to get leaner without burning through a lot of muscle. Right? By the way, JMP, is the signal good in here? So we're right at about, I think we've been going for about right at 40 minutes. 40 minutes at about 150 to 200 watts. So, in my opinion, you want to measure your wattage. Wattages. Go. Cool. All right, well, let's talk about what you're going to measure. It's good, Chris? Cool. Thank you, JMP. So, I don't really pay attention to the heart rate when I'm training my clients. So we'll stop, now we'll go. I gotta reset it because I only do about an hour. But error 248. I gotta wait this thing to stop. See, I'm used to the ones back on the military base. You can just push go instead of having to set all the timers and stuff. Because I don't trust the machines. The machines do not give you an accurate calorie burn. Like, what you got to do is you got to measure your wattages. Nah, calories and time. Nah, don't do that. Nah, let me tell you a better way. Right? I mean, you can do whatever you want. You're a grown person, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, but I'll tell you a more effective way. You need to measure your wattages, right? Your wattage is right here. That's how much power you're generating, right? So the goal is to stay in zone 2 cardio where you can have a conversation, and then the amount of power that you're pushing out, you need to be able to push more wattages within that zone 2. That's going to burn the most amount of fat, and you'll still have energy for your weights, because most people spend way too much. They either go too hard on cardio, they're zone 4, then they have no energy for their weights, or they do zone 1 cardio, which is for recovery, but they don't build up enough of a tolerance to burn and oxidize fat. Yeah, but try this. Just try this for 3 months and then come back to me and say, wow, Chris, that's amazing. And I'll say, yes, I've trained 700 people in my life over 20 years. This is what works. Now, everybody's different, but for the average person, you take your watts and you try to get your wattage to at least 100, and you hold 100 watts for an hour. And then you try to get to where you can do 110 watts for an hour. What you're doing is you're trying to go 20 minutes to 45 minutes at a steady pace with a steady burn. That's gonna oxidize fat. That's using a specific energy system, right? That is what's going to elicit fat burning. Now you can do it on the stepper, you can do it on the bike, but the benefit of the elliptical is you're twisting your body so you can tone up your core. When I take my shirt off, I've got these deep indentions in my lower abs. That's from twisting when I do twisting movements. So what you do is you get to transverse abdominis, the side muscles, and the Wolverine claw, which is your serratus. So, yeah. So basically, find a way to measure wattage and then hold that wattage. Simple as that, right? And hold it for a longer period of time. And you should not feel tired while you're doing it. You should be able to do it and not be sore. And then whatever you're doing to not be sore, now you build upon that and you slightly do more every session, right? You should get to where you can do 200 to 300 watts or more for 30 minutes to an hour. You start doing that, you're gonna burn a lot of calories. But if you just look at the calories that the machine tells you, the machine's gonna misread how many calories you burn. I've never seen a machine actually measure calories right. When you take in someone's weight and what they do, it's all bullshit. So focus on the wattage, not just the time and calories. But whatever you're doing, if it's working, keep doing that. You're very welcome, JMP. It's just more effective. You okay, I'm gonna go for 30 minutes today at 200 watts. And then you do that and you're like, okay, I felt pretty good. Got a little sweat going, and I could do that again tomorrow if I wanted to. But then tomorrow might be a weight day, right? Your goal is to do more frequent cardio to get your metabolism going and then pair it with a specific diet for 40% carbs, 40% protein, 20% fat. And then make sure you hit your minimum threshold for protein and then balance out the carbs. And the cardio is helping you burn more energy because you don't burn calories lifting weights, not very much. You burn more calories going for a walk than you do lifting weights. So most people just lift weights, they get big and strong, but then they get fat because they're getting stronger, but they're not burning enough calories. So that's why cardio is essential to stay lean. Unless you're just trying to be big and strong and don't care about how you look, which that's cool. If that's what you want to do. Hey, cool. I used to be a fat power lifter. I get it. I've lost 100 pounds doing this method. And I'm 40 years old, guys. I'm not in my 20s, right? Cardio keeps you young. But don't do too hard cardio too frequently. You still got to do the weights, so it's a balance of it. Get what I'm saying? You smell me, Smalls? For example, I like to keep 150 to 200 wattages for about an hour. And I can do that 7 days a week if I wanted to. But I do my cardio 3 to 5 sessions a week. And I hit my weight sessions about 3 to 7 times a week. And then I do my other martial arts training, other sessions. So I train about 17 to 25 sessions a week. 45 minutes to an hour, eat, go to my office, work, take a break, do some stretching, mobility. So that's how I stay lean. And food. Glad you like that, JMP. But what's gonna make your body look better, I've been on a liquid diet for 4 days now. Okay. Was told to try it for 2 weeks. It's hard going. What do you think about, I think a liquid diet's full of shit. I would never tell someone to do a liquid diet. Unless the liquid diet was real smoothies where you took frozen berries and whey isolate and maybe some creatine and you were eating real food and smoothie, that's cool. But as far as just a liquid diet, if you're healthy, I mean, if you're trying to detox, okay, if you're trying to detox, I could see some validity in that. But I would say white rice, not bleached, sodium benzoate, chemically sprayed glyphosate chemical rice that's killing you, but like real rice. Go get a 50-pound bag of Thai rice or jasmine rice that's not bleached, right? And then get you a bunch of organic chicken tenderloin, right? And a bunch of frozen medley of California blend, which is like broccoli, carrots, and cauliflower. And you eat that 3 times a day with 50 grams of protein. Like if you're 150 pounds, then eat 50 grams of protein 3 times a day with the clean carb. Then train harder, because when you eat more real food, you can train more often and you have more energy. So the goal is to eat enough food to push yourself slowly over time to elicit an adaptative response. Hope that makes sense. So, I mean, see, liquid diets, man, they're good if you're in a pinch, but when you drink liquid diets, your body doesn't break down the food. When you eat whole food, like chicken, broccoli, and rice, the old bodybuilding food, right? Your body has to break down that food. So not only is it more nutrient dense, but it takes more energy to break down the food. Get what I'm saying? So it's a better approach, right? And I would say don't eat as much red meat. Eat red meat every now and then. But as far as how you want to look, you're going to look better eating less calories, more protein, and balancing out your protein and your carbs to where about 40% each. Remember, protein has 4 calories per gram, carbs has 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9. So you can eat twice as much food and still be in a deficit from the proteins and carbs. Right. But whatever you're doing, if it's working, go for it. I just think that that's a very ineffective way to get your body to change. Cool. So now if you're eating chicken and turkey, make sure it's good quality. Your best bet is to get organic chicken tenderloin, because it's not as expensive as chicken breast. It's cheaper, you can get it in bulk, and it doesn't have the chemicals. Especially women, because women are very sensitive to processed foods, especially with their hormones. Organic tenderloin, chop it up into small pieces, learn how to put a griddle and fry it, not fry it, but sear it with a little bit of oil, right? Very clean. And then get you a big old rice cooker and make you a bunch of clean rice, and then mix it with your veg. And each one of your meals should be a portion of protein, a portion of starch, and a portion of fiber, right? You eat that 2 to 3 times a day, and then the rest of your meal's pretty clean. You do resistance training. Ideally, try to hit every muscle at least twice a week, and then throw in aerobic activity on other days or twice a days. You build that into a program, that's what causes the body to really change fast, right? With no hormones, no SARMs, no peptides, no TRT, just nutrition. I find that the people who use a lot of hormones, right, that take peptides and SARMs, they're typically doing low carb. And if they were to actually balance out their nutrition properly, 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fats, they would be leaner and have more energy. But instead, they lean on exogenous hormones, and that's a detriment to their own physique and their own personal health, which is disadvantageous for optimal results in health and wellness, right? Again, I've been studying this for 20 years. I'm a professional, not trying to be arrogant, but I train competitors. I write diets for a living. I get people enrolled. I train people. This is what I do, right? A lot of people think I'm arrogant. They think I'm loud. Well, I know what I'm talking about. And if you have an opinion, right, then put it in the chat. But here's an interesting thing. When it comes to pork sausage, your turkey sausage is a better bet. Because if you take pork sausage and you look, usually a thing of pork sausage, 2 patties, has like 280 calories for 14 grams of protein. You could take turkey sausage and get 130 calories for close to 20 grams of protein. That little change, 7 days a week, once a day, will be an immediate deficit of about 150 calories a day. And you need to burn 3,500 calories a week in order to lose 1 pound of fat. So a 500 calorie deficit split upon 7 days is 3,500, right? That's why I studied advanced sports nutrition in college. That's why I know this, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, your go-to is this JMP. And oh, by the way, we're only going to be going for about 23 more minutes and then we're done for the day. So, and yeah, basically this is my off day. So I do cardio on my rest day, right? I train 7 days a week, but I don't ever train really hard. I do more volume and frequency versus intensity, right? And in every few months, I'll go through 3 or 4 weeks where I'll do a power phase and I'll lift heavy. But I've got 2 herniated discs, 2 torn shoulders, broken ankles, and I'm not even supposed to walk after my surgery because I had an accident when I was in the military. So I'm kind of limited to how heavy I can lift now, right? But, I mean, I still look pretty damn good. I love the way I look. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but when you look good, you feel good, you got more confidence. You know what I mean? And you got to love yourself. You don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you. Right, you know what I'm saying? Kind of get it? All right. And again, if you just want to be a big, strong power lifter or strongman, cool, go do that. That's awesome. But, you know, 99% of people I train want to feel better, have more energy, get leaner, and like what they see in the mirror. No, JMP, it's 3 or 4 times a week is fine. The question is, based on how you're eating and based on how you're resting and based on how you're training, how do you feel? If you feel good and you're getting results, then you're in the right spot. But if you're training 4 days a week, but you're always dragging and you're tired and your cortisol's up and you're not resting, then maybe that's too much. I'd rather someone train 6 to 7 days a week, 20 minutes a day in the morning, and then 20 minutes a day in the evening. I'd rather someone train 14 times a week, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. That's a 40 minutes. There's 168 hours in a week. You're telling me you ain't got 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening? Everybody does. Cut out Netflix, right? And more frequency, that's what makes the body adapt. More frequency, and yes, you have progressive overload, but more training more frequently, that gets the body going, and then that paired with proper nutrition, right? What you don't want to do is go into the gym today, kill yourself, and then be sore for 6 days. No, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to recover between your sessions and not disrupt your lifestyle. You still want to be able to play with your kids and go do all this. So, you know, and hell, you ain't got to do cardio like on a machine like I do. Go out walking, right? You know, it's just cardio on a machine when you measure your wattage is going to be more advantageous to hold muscle than just running, like long distance running. It's just too much stress. Oh yeah, walking's key. See, every time you eat carbs and proteins and fats together, and then you go on walks, what it does is it moderates the glucose spike through the glycemic index. It moderates that spike. So what that's going to do is allow you to eat more carbs and protein and continue to get leaner as you're still enjoying that. Carbs don't make you fat. They don't. Too many calories make you fat. In fact, you can get fat eating too much protein, believe it or not. It's hard, but it can be done. All right, next question. We got 9 more minutes and then we're done. Yeah, walking's good. Also, if you can, get a weighted vest. And if walking feels easy, get you like a little weighted vest, put it under your shirt, put a hoodie on, and just start walking around with a weighted vest. What that'll do is that'll boost your metabolism extremely, right? Even if it's just 15, 20 pounds. 15-pound vest, whoosh, hoodie on, whoosh, go walk around. right? If your goal is to stay lean and athletic, if you want that lean, like fitness model physique, you want wide shoulders. You see how my lats pop out when I get under the weights, I have veins and stuff, right? It's because the more aerobically fit that you get, the more fat you burn through, the leaner you're gonna be just through existing, all right? Hope that makes sense. You burn more calories going for a walk than you do lifting weights. And if you burn more calories lifting weights than you do on a walk, then typically you're not doing the proper stimulus from the weight. Your weights are doing aerobic, right? Yeah, if you do a liquid diet and it doesn't make you feel good, like whatever you do to your body, if it doesn't make you feel good, you should sit back and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, right? So don't listen to what people say. Like, don't even listen to what I say. But I tell you, if you take what I say and you apply it and you start feeling good, that's when things will start working together, right? It's very simple. Whole foods, minimum protein, a minimum of 120 to 150 aerobic work per week, resistance training, stretching, de-stress, don't drink, don't smoke, rest, get some sunlight, do your activities. That can all be fit into a schedule if you do it right. Right? Don't train so much at once, so much intensity. Train more frequently. You know, professional athletes a lot of times train twice a day. They do cardio and mobility in the morning, they eat, they rest, they have the luxury, and then they may hit some weights in the evening. Or if they're a football player, they may be sport-specific training where they're doing, footwork or hand work or skills work. That's why they stay lean, because they're moving all day, right? So your goal to combat that is to figure a balance between weightlifting and your cardio, and understanding based on how you're eating and when you do it, what's most effective for you. But yeah, a pure liquid diet, nah, I wouldn't do that. Again, unless your liquid diet is making smoothies. Here's the thing, JMP. If you drink some wine every now and then, it's not going to destroy you. Right, look, have fun. But I'd say 80 to 90% of the time, don't indulge. And then 10 to 20% of the time, you can eat whatever you want. It's not what you do every now and then, it's what you do every day. So build the foundation of consistency. That foundation of consistency will allow you to have time to enjoy the 10 to 20% of pleasure, right? You get what I'm saying? I mean, I say I never drink because I don't, but let's say a week ago I had 2 glasses of wine with a friend. That was the first alcohol I'd had in a year. But I was there and she offered me some. I was like, cool. Took a couple sips, had some fun, boom. I mean, that's not going to destroy you. But I don't make it a habit to drink or smoke ever, unless I'm in a social engagement or someone offers it to me. And, you see how that's balanced? Makes sense? All right. And that's it. All right. Let me wipe this machine down. So simple as that. Little bit of aerobics in the morning. Now we'll go study and we'll hit weights in another session.
Virgo here is here 24/7 to help make every part of your space anything comes up, or you simply need a little guidance. Support is known every
You like the chats? Glad you like the chats. Well, I like to take time out of my day to share with the people who come to my stream, simply because we're at 4,123 subscribers of 1.5 million views. So to say thank you, instead of paying a trainer for that information, since I'm nationally accredited, I can go work at the University of Georgia if I want to, right? I'd rather work in my office at the house, right? But, I share this information with you guys because you guys are the ones that help me grow my channel. So that's my way of saying thank you, all you bastards with all these questions. But you know I love every one of you, right? Cool. But let's see. But even you guys see, a lot of my sessions, they're not that hard. Right? I'm not trying to kill myself in the gym. I'm trying to stimulate my body, not annihilate it. Right? And I'll probably train later this evening and do a weight session in about 6 to 8 hours. You know? But being close to 40 years old, I used to have a 42-inch waist. Now my waist is 31 inches and my shoulders are wide. And people pay me money to take my shirt off, right? So, in order to keep that, this is how I train. And I share it with you, right? Train for your goal. But if you're just trying to look better and feel better, chances are, you know, these little things I teach you, it's about consistency. It's not killing yourself every day. Think less intensity, more frequency. Better habits. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a quick 45, 60-minute session, right? I wish I had my cardio equipment back at the house. So, but it is what it is. I'm probably going to get my cardio equipment eventually back at the house. But okay, guys. All right, you guys stay good. Thank you for all the thumbs ups. Thanks for all the chats. Appreciate every one of you. And yeah, we're at 1.5 million views, so stay good. See you next time.